This is Amtrak's weirdest train, and it's not even close. But what makes it so weird? What's its story? Were there others? And what's happening to these trains? More importantly, why did I spend $19 for a 15-minute train ride? We're headed to Seattle on the Amtrak Cascades. Now, I did a lot of planning and trying to figure out how to ride a very specific train, the Talgo VIs. And so I was waking up pretty excited this morning. I got a phone call from Amtrak saying that there was an equipment issue. So there is a big chance that we are not going to ride the Talgos today, but we're going to go inside and find out. Horizon cars. Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new Trains Are Awesome video. I'm Tom, I'm in Seattle, Washington. Specifically, I'm standing in front of the King Street station where I'm going to take Amtrak. Now, as you saw in the previous clip, there's a very specific train that I've been really wanting to ride, and last time I tried, it didn't happen. But I've got a good feeling about today. Seattle's King Street station serves the Sounder commuter rail and 3 Amtrak routes: the Coast Starlight to LA, the Empire Builder to Chicago, and the Cascades service, which we are riding today. The Cascades is a state-sponsored route between Eugene, Oregon, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, and Vancouver, British Columbia. Today, though, I'm making one of the shortest trips you can make on the Cascades. I'm traveling from Seattle down to Tukwila. King Street Station is beautiful. It opened in 1906, back then serving the Great Northern and Northern Pacific Railroads. But this footage is all from my previous visit here because I had to run to make this train today. I booked the ticket while I was riding the light rail on the way up here, about 20 minutes ago. I made it to the station with just a few minutes to spare. But all the rushing was worth it. Over there, in all its bizarre glory, is the Cascades Talgo. The Amtrak trains that we are used to are silver. They're tall and they're long. These are not silver, but evergreen and copper, the classic Cascades colors. And they're short, super short, both in length and in height. We'll get to why in a minute. Let's do a quick seat tour in our coach seat, which I paid $19 for. It's soft and padded, but in a this seat is completely falling apart kind of way. The table is also quite dirty. You know, if you had told me this interior was 30 years old, I would have believed you, but it's only 13. One thing I will say in its favor is that the soft lighting and the warm colors make for a very relaxing experience.
Train 517 southbound. Our remaining stops are Tukwila, Tacoma, Olympia Lacey, Centralia, Kelso Longview, Vancouver, Washington, and that final stop at Portland Union Station.
So the guy in the seat next to me playing solitaire, well, he asked me to sit somewhere else. So what do? Well, obliging his request did mean that I could check out what the conductor called the community lounge. So let's just do that. A walk through the cafe brings us there. The community lounge is essentially the seating area for the cafe, though the conductors told me that anyone can sit there. It makes sense since the cars on this Talgo train are much shorter than ordinary train cars. Our train set is made up of 13 cars, but it's not excessively long. There's a cab car, 2 business class cars, the lounge, the cafe, and then 8 coach cars. The cars are much shorter than regular Amtrak cars. They're only 43 feet or 13 meters long. An Amfleet car is 85 feet long, basically twice the length. The ride was quite bumpy, somewhat ironic because these trains include features that are supposed to make the ride more comfortable. The Cascades route uses 2 of these Talgo sets. The rest of the services use Amfleet cars, and previously they also used Horizon cars, but those were all pulled aside due to extreme corrosion. For the most up-to-date information on what trips the Talgos are actually on, it's best to look it up before you book, as it does change from time to time. Actually, let's keep comparing these cars to the Amfleets. We've already established that the Talgos are half as short as the Amfleets. But why? Well, it's not just because they felt cute and wanted to do something different. Talgo is a company based in Spain. They've been building trains since 1942. Their trains run everywhere. Spain, of course, Kazakhstan, Egypt, Russia, even Argentina for a while, and they formed Deutsche Bahn's newest fleet of intercity express trains. The Talgo is a platform that has withstood the test of time, even though the product has constantly been evolving. One thing that has never changed is the way they are set up. This is the reason why the cars are so short. See, the Amfleets are just like almost every other passenger car. They rest on these things called trucks or bogies. I say bogie because it's so much more fun to say. Each bogie has 2 axles, so 4 wheels in total. Some trains, particularly those in Europe, but also the next-gen Acela, have Jacobs bogies. That's when there are 2 cars that rest on one shared bogie. Talgo trains take that concept but to the extreme. They get rid of the bogie altogether, and they have 2 cars that rest on just 2 wheels. That's why the cars are so short. Other than short cars, you know how you notice the difference the most? Instead of hearing the clickety-clack like, you just hear a singular rhythmic The concept might seem silly, but all the Talgos quirks were born out of an attempt to solve problems. Their low centers of gravity allowed for speeds higher than any other trains in the 1940s. Spain and the rest of Europe have different track gauges, so in the 1960s, Talgo developed a gauge-changing technology, where the wheels of the train can change how far apart they are. Spain still uses this on their high-speed trains. And in the 80s, Talgo added a tilting technology to their trains, using a method that doesn't use sensors or hydraulics, just natural movements. Tilting keeps passengers more comfortable when a train goes through curves at high speeds. Since the 1950s, Talgo trains have been running in the United States, on the Rock Island and the New Haven. In 1998, the Amtrak Cascades service was launched, using 4 Talgo 6 trains. Amtrak had a 5th one built too, which they were going to run between Los Angeles and Las Vegas. That train never happened, so it became the 5th Cascade set instead. The Talgo 6s had an incredible cafe car with a map of the Pacific Northwest on its ceiling. I sadly never got to see it, because the Talgo 6s were scrapped in 2020. One of them was wrecked in a devastating 2017 derailment. This train is a newer variant, the Talgo 8, built in Wisconsin in 2013. What sets it apart is the fact that it has a cab/generator car in the front, with a very ugly design, I'm sorry. But it's kind of so ugly it's almost cute. Talgo opened a factory there to build trains for the Hiawatha service between Chicago and Milwaukee. Wisconsin got federal money to increase speeds on that route and extend it to Madison. They're going to use the Talgos to run that service. That is, until their governor sent the money back to the feds and the project got canceled. The 2 Talgos for Wisconsin ended up going to Nigeria, where they run alongside British HSTs. But the factory did crank out 2 more Talgo 8s, the 2 that are running on the Cascades today. We're at Tukwila Station. I could keep riding this to Portland, but I came to Seattle to ride the light rail. This was more of a side quest, but the kind that crosses off a bucket list item. All right, made it to Tequila. That was probably a 15-minute ride. I think less, actually, even. I spent most of it in the cafe seating, or the community space as they called it, because, you know, the cars are so short that the service part of the cafe and the seating part of the cafe are in two separate cars. I mean, you've barely set foot in one before you're like, wait, this is the end already? I can't believe I finally got to ride the Talgo. I'm not gonna lie, I had kind of just accepted the fact maybe it wasn't for me. After the last time we missed it, you know, the Pacific Northwest is not super easy to get to for me. Being able to fit it into my schedule like that really is a bucket list item complete. You better ride the Talgos while you can. This fall, brand new Siemens Aero trains will enter service on the Cascades route. I've been fortunate enough to get an exclusive preview of these new trains, which you can find on my channel. While the imminent arrival of the Aero is exciting, it is likely that they will eventually replace the Talgo. Now, obviously, I'm very excited about the Aero, especially because they're also coming to the Northeast where I live. But I was always a little bit disappointed that I missed an opportunity to ride such a unique train as the Talgo. So when I came to Seattle, I made a bet, and it worked out. And I'm really glad that it did, because what a weird train this was. Hopefully when the Cascades retires them, there's some commuter rail system somewhere that's just starting up and can use them, because it'd be a shame to see them go. Anyway, that's all I have for today. If you enjoyed this video, or if you learned something new, please subscribe to Trains Are Awesome. Thank you so much for watching today. We'll see you next time.